Part 33. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 321. When Xiao Jingjia saw Yu Yang suddenly, she was so frightened that her nerves tensed up. She immediately reached out to snatch the document, but the man opposite was even faster, and handed the document to Yu Yang with a wave of his hand. Are you the person in charge here? I want to file a complaint. The man was slavishly messing around. This woman doesn't keep her word. She promised to give me money as long as I get this appraisal report. Now she doesn't accept it, and pretend not to know me. I didn't. Xiao Jingjia bit her lip, and looked at Yu Yang with tears in her eyes. I really don't know him. I don't know why he said these things to hurt me. It's a pity that Yu Yang was indifferent by nature. He didn't feel Xiao Jingjia's tears, and just focused on looking at the report in his hand. This is a DNA comparison report of cat fur. It was written clearly in the documents that cat hair was found on the handkerchief, and after identification, the DNA was completely consistent with the chinchilla cat raised by Qin Jun. If Chu Mingjun had presented this evidence at the time, there would have been no need for him to try so hard to trick Tan Jun in court. Although that method was easygoing, it was also risky. Yu Yang remembered that during the court trial, Chu Mingjun's expression once changed drastically. Thinking about it now, it was probably because of this incident. The man was still arguing with Xiao Jingjia. I tell you, you don't want to let this account go. Give me the money. Hurry up and give me the money. There were strange eyes looking over from all around. Xiao Jingjia wished she could gag the man. At this time, Yu Yang said, if you want to recover the arrears, please go to the court to sue, or directly call the police. If you want to complain, turn left ahead, and there will be special staff to receive you. With a cold voice and no expression on his face, he put away the documents in his hand, and then said, you can continue to make noise here, but I will arrest you forcibly for obstructing judicial work, and you will be detained according to relevant regulations. From 7 to 20 days. The man realized that he had kicked the iron plate, and seeing the nearby security guard staring at him, he finally walked away resentfully. Xiao Jingjia breathed a sigh of relief, and looked at Yu Yang gratefully. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. I'm not helping you. I just don't want him to disturb other people's work. Yu Yang's attitude was very indifferent, without showing any sympathy, which made Xiao Jingjia feel embarrassed, and she could even feel the eyes of those nearby watching jokes. Can you tell me why? Yu Yang asked her. What good will it do you? Xiao Jingjia categorically denied. He was slandering me. I really didn't let him take the identification report. You made a phone call before the trial, and I saw it, Yu Yang said calmly. Were you arranging this at the time? This kind of behavior involves obstruction of justice. I can apply to search your communication records. Xiao Jingjia subconsciously clutched the jacket pocket with the mobile phone tightly. Her eyes flickered, revealing her panic. Actually, I was here to help you. Xiao Jingjia lowered her voice, as if she was very aggrieved. How can a person like Guyan be found not guilty? I did it to help you win the lawsuit. Did you misunderstand something? Yu Yang interrupted her indifferently. Xiao Jingjia, do you know your identity? Xiao Jingjia looked up at him, puzzled. You are a prosecutor in turn and will become a prosecutor in the future. The duty of a prosecutor has never been to litigate. It seems that you have a deep misunderstanding of this position. Yu Yang lowered his eyes, glanced at the appraisal report in his hand, and said in a flat tone, Xiao Jingjia, I don't think you are suitable for this job anymore. After that, he turned and left. Xiao Jingjia was stunned in place, and when she came back to her senses for a moment, her back was covered in cold sweat. What does Yu Yang mean by this? He wants to apply for transfer from her. Do not. She has been demoted from a prosecutor to an intern. If she is punished again, she will not be able to stay in the procuratorate any longer. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 322. Qiao Jingjia immediately chased after her. She can't let Yu Yang do that. The transfer application is just a nice word, but in fact it is no different from dismissal. She worked so hard to pass the judicial examination and went through 2 years of training, not to be an ordinary clerk in the procuratorate. She wants to become a master. Yu Yang walked into his office, followed by Qiao Jingjia, and closed the door behind his back. Yu Yang raised his eyebrows and looked at her with puzzled eyes. Please, don't transfer me, Qiao Jingjia bit her lip and approached his desk. I was wrong, I was obsessed with ghosts for a while, and I won't dare to do it again. Please, as long as you don't transfer me, let me do anything. She unbuttoned her shirt, revealing her snow-white plumpness. The lace pattern of her underwear was faintly visible, and her pair of bright autumn eyes were still wanting to speak. She leaned over little by little, very pitiful. Yu Yang Moran's expression finally loosened a bit, his eyes were deep, as if he was thinking. Are you asking me for sex? Yu Yang asked. Qiao Jingjia's expression froze. Sorry, you will cause me trouble, Yu Yang said sternly. My assistant needs to keep up with my work rhythm, instead of undressing anytime and anywhere. After he finished speaking, he looked away, stopped looking at Qiao Jingjia, took out an application form from the folder on the desk, and said indifferently, You are really not suitable to work here. In the quiet office, Yu Yang filled out the application form for staff transfer. He knew very well that this transfer application was equivalent to expelling Qiao Jingjia, but so what? He doesn't need such an assistant. Looking back now, it's no wonder that Suzy I suppressed Qiao Jingjia's application for promotion. Suzy I. A circle of ripples appeared in Yu Yang's heart, slightly melancholy. It's a pity to die young. There was the sound of the door opening, and with the sound of Qiao Jingjia's leaving footsteps, the door closed again with a click. Yu Yang looked up, shook his head slightly, and went back to his desk to fill out the form. Prosecutors are regarded as civil servants, and they will not be dismissed easily. Generally, when dereliction of duty occurs, the way to deal with it needs to go through layers of approval. Yu Yang filled out the form and went to the personnel department, only to be told that Qiao Jingjia had submitted her resignation report 5 minutes ago. Yu Yang was taken aback for a moment, and then he understood. Instead of waiting to be punished, it is more dignified to resign on your own initiative. Yu Yang didn't take it seriously, took back the application form in his hand, turned and left. It stands to reason that after submitting the resignation letter, one needs to wait for the approval of the superior, but after Qiao Jingjia resigned that day, she left the procuratorate and never appeared again. Since then, Qiao Jingjia has completely missed the profession of prosecutor. In December, Qingjiang City ushered in the first snow of winter. The city was covered in white snow, and the air was filled with snowflakes, which was lingering. There are endless streams of students at the gate of Grey School. Mu Zi met Gu Liang at the school gate. He seemed to be waiting for someone. The car was parked on the side of the road, and there were some seemingly inconspicuous men standing near the front and rear vehicles, but they were actually his bodyguards. In the cold weather, Gu Liang was wearing an off-white camel haircoat. This color is very picky. If a man can't wear it well, he will either look sissy or hypocritical, but it is very suitable and good for Gu Liang. It is paired with a long plaid scarf, elegant and refined, like a handsome gentleman. Mu Zi hesitated whether to go up to say hello. After thinking about it, I felt that I was just an ordinary student, and I seemed very attentive when I talked to young Master Gu rashly, and he might have something to do when he came to school, so it's better not to make trouble. Mu Zi was about to pretend she didn't see it, but Gu Liang saw her instead, and his eyes fell on her warmly. Miss Mu, Gu Liang greeted her. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 323. I was slightly embarrassed, and had the illusion of being caught. Young Master Gu, she turned her head pretending to be surprised, and walked over. Why are you here? Come here to pick someone up, young Master Gu asked her with a smile. In such a cold day, why are the girls in your school still wearing skirts? Children should dress warmly, as they will suffer from the cold and suffer from the root cause of their diseases when they get old. He speaks like an elder. I wear thick clothes, I said with a smile. Although these are socks, they are actually thicker warm-bottoming socks, no worse than your coat. Gray's school uniform for girls, the lower body is a skirt, and must be worn with thick bottoming socks in winter. Gu Liang's eyes flicked under her skirt. I has a pair of slender and straight long legs, neither skinny nor bloated, with well-proportioned curves. She is good-looking, delicate in every way. Not only her legs are beautiful, but her innocent and lovely face is even more beautiful and refined. Her skin is as white as snow, her lips are as red as peach petals, and she is as soft and tender as a flower bud, making her lovable. Gu Liang looked at her. Her eyes were bright and clear, her lips were pink and tender when she pursed her lips and smiled lightly. Gu Liang immediately looked away, realizing that he had been distracted for a moment just now. This is really rare. Maybe it's because I is always calm and composed, which is a little different from ordinary 16 or 17-year-old girls. I seem to still owe you a favor. Gu Liang suddenly mentioned the agreement between the two, and asked her with a smile. His voice was warm and steady. Have you thought about how I can fulfill it? I smiled. You have already fulfilled it. I told Guanxi Tong, and he said he would help me with it. Gu Liang smiled when he heard the words. His deep eyes were peaceful and quiet. Tong Wu has done everything properly, Miss Mu can rest assured. The two were talking, when suddenly a figure stepped in, forcibly blocking the way between them. Young Master Gu. Lan Kexin held Gu Liang's arm. Her curly hair smelled of rose water, which was especially obvious in the crisp cold air. I felt that the smell was too strong, so she took a step back subconsciously. Lan Kexin didn't seem to see I at all, and said in a delicate and crunchy voice, Young Master Gu, let's go. Auntie will be upset if we are late. Gu Liang looked at I. Young Master Gu, you should be busy first. I'm leaving. I was very knowledgeable, and when she saw Lan Kexin coming over, she took the initiative to say goodbye to young Master Gu. Gu Liang did have something to do today. His mother wanted to celebrate Christmas like Westerners, so she asked him to pick up Lan Kexin and bring them there to order a dress for the Christmas dinner. Okay, see you next time, Gu Liang said. I smiled, turned around and left. She walks lightly, her long hair is slightly raised, and the sparkling snow ripples around her body, making her back look extraordinarily graceful. Gu Liang's heart moved slightly, and he felt that this girl was elegant and quiet, and he liked it very much. It's a pity, after all, it's a little younger. Thinking of this, Gu Liang withdrew his little reverie. Never mind. He doesn't spoil children. Gu Liang thought of Muse's clear and peaceful eyes when she looked at him. She was not afraid or flattering. Such a girl would have a great future in the future. If she really followed him, she would only be buried. Gu Liang thinks he has a bit of a heart to cherish talents. He appreciates I, so he can help her from other sources, and he doesn't have to turn I into his own woman, otherwise, he will lose his status. Back in the car, Gu Liang thought for a moment, took out his mobile phone and called Tong Wu. What did Miss Mu ask you to help her with? He asked. On the other end of the phone, Tong Wu was a little surprised. Although Gu Liang has not officially taken the position of patriarch now, all the affairs of the Gu family are under the control of Gu Liang. If things are assigned, others will naturally do it. It is impossible for him to intervene in everything, but he did not expect that today he will deliberately call to ask what Muzi explained. Tongwu felt puzzled, but still reported the truth. Miss Mu asked me to find someone. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 324. Looking for someone, Gu Liang was a little curious. Who are you looking for? Tongwu replied, Suzi. Gu Liang was stunned. He knew about Suzi. He often saw it in the news. As a rare female prosecutor in Xinjiang City, Suzi was very popular among the people. People are beautiful, and they do beautiful things, but it is a pity that they die at a young age, which is really a pity. Tongwu continued, after Suzi's accident, the body has not been found. Miss Mu said that someone took it away. She wants to find Suzi's body and the person who took the body back. This is a bit interesting. Gu Liang was thoughtful. Why did Muzi pay attention to Suzi's affairs? And for no reason, why was a corpse taken away? If it was for the sake of gratitude, the body should be salvaged and sent to Mu's family, so that she could be buried in peace. If it is for revenge, the person is already dead, and no matter how big the hatred is, it should be settled, so why bother to find the corpse? After you find out, tell me, Gu Liang ordered. Tongwu was even more surprised. Hearing what Gu Shao meant, did he want to pay attention to this matter? Gu Shao was usually busy with big things, such as land and sea routes, money and goods transactions, gang strife, but now, he should pay attention to such an insignificant matter. Tongwu became more cautious about what Muzi entrusted. Yes, I will call you back when I have an idea. Gu Liang hung up the phone. When he talked on the phone, he only had a few words, and Lan Kexan beside him didn't know who he called or what he talked about. She was sitting in the car with a smile on her face, posing as an elegant lady, but she was feeling uneasy in her heart. Because she saw Gu Shao and Muzi talking at the school gate. The outside world only thinks that Chu Mingjun of Mingjun law firm is a rising star in the judicial circle, but she has eavesdropped on the conversation between Gu Shao and Muzi, and knows that this case is basically controlled by Muzi. Muzi actually won the lawsuit. Lan Kexan twisted her hands together subconsciously, thinking uneasy. Muzi helped the second young master overturn the case. Will young master Gu favor her from now on? She is very worried. Gu Liang is not like the second young master who indulges in lust and love, but he is not a monk who is ascetic. In fact, he has had women before, and his taste is extremely high, so that the woman Gu Liang likes is not only good in appearance, but also has something extraordinary. Gu Liang's mother made peace with Lan Kexan many times, but Gu Liang declined all of them on the grounds of her young age. This is true. The women who have been with Gu Liang seem to be more mature and intellectual, so Lan Kexan also tried her best to dress herself in a mature style. But Gu Liang still doesn't like her. Lan Kexan loves, hates, and fears Gu Liang. Fortunately, although Gu Liang doesn't like her, he doesn't like others either. He broke up with his girlfriend who was a photographer before, and now there is nothing around him. As a result, Muzi appeared out of nowhere. A woman who can litigate is quite capable. Will Gu Liang fall in love with Muzi because of this? Lan Kexan was anxious and restless. She felt that Muzi was too young for Gu Liang to like him, but her heart was buzzing and she couldn't calm down. No, she had to find a way to completely stop Gu Liang's thoughts. The weather is getting colder and colder. At the end of the month, the whole Xinjiang city is filled with Christmas atmosphere. There are many foreign students in Gray International School, so there will be a holiday for Christmas. But the Mu family does not celebrate Christmas, not only because the Mu family is an old-fashioned family, but also because this day is the death day of the old man Mu. Every anniversary of the old man's death, in addition to sweeping the tomb and worshipping, there will be a banquet at home. No matter how busy he is, he must take time to come back and have a meal together. Murong Chen usually sees the head and sees the end of the dragon, but he came back obediently this day. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 325. Bai Wei pays special attention to the annual death day, and prepares suitable clothes for her children early, which are black and white from the inside to the outside, solemn and solemn. Even the woolen sleeve on Ceci's tail was replaced with a black one. Xiao doesn't need to prepare anything extra, it's already black. In the morning, Mu Zi went downstairs to have breakfast, and after sitting for a while, Murong Chen also came downstairs. He was wearing a white shirt and a black suit today, buttoned up to the neckline. He was handsome and dignified, and he looked like a human being, without the usual unruly and evil spirit. It has to be said that the genes of the Mu family are really good. Mr. Mu's sons are all handsome, and Murong Chen is undoubtedly the most handsome one. If he hadn't ruined his reputation outside, all the women in Xinjiang City would probably want to marry him. Mu Zi lowered her eyes, retracted her eyes, and drank soy milk silently. She felt that she really shouldn't have such an idea. Murong Chen's gaze had already fallen on her. He stepped forward with his long legs, walked over a few steps and sat down next to her. Bai Wei got up and went to the kitchen to serve him breakfast. Murong Chen immediately acted unscrupulously, turned his head and whispered to Mu Zi, "We seem to be wearing couple outfits." "I'm going to die." Mu Zi almost choked upon hearing the words, and glared at him angrily. "What day is it today? You're still joking." She is wearing a black woolen lotus leaf skirt today, with a silver brooch pinned to her chest, which is very elegant and dignified. If it is not for the death date, the two of them are dressed in black, they really look like couples. Murong Chen said disapprovingly, "The old man has been dead for more than 10 years, what else is there to pay homage to? Maybe he has been reincarnated long ago and is now in primary school." The second half of what he said was heard by Bai Wei, who came back. Bai Wei put the breakfast on the table, reprimanded and lightly slapped Murong Chen on the back. "It doesn't matter whether it's big or small, that's your father." With a slight smile on his face, Murong Chen lowered his head to eat his share of breakfast. In front of Bai Wei, he is still very filial and sensible. But where Bai Wei can't see, there is no moral bottom line at all. For example, at this moment, he is hooking Mu Zi's leg under the table. Mu Zi swallowed her anger and ate her breakfast with her head down, not wanting to be noticed by Bai Wei. After breakfast, the whole family set off to visit the grave in the cemetery. This family was everyone in Mu's house. Except for the crazy Mu Ling, who was left behind, everyone else got into the car. Mu Zi was a little worried at first. After she resurrected her body, she was very taboo towards places related to ghosts and gods, such as cemeteries, temples, and churches. Fortunately, the journey went smoothly without any abnormality. They found Mrs. Mu's tombstone, placed white flowers on it, burned a few sticks of incense, and burned paper. As the eldest son, Mu Rongxian bowed towards the tombstone and said, "Don't worry, everything is fine at home." The second brother has been in prison for a few years, and his temperament has become much calmer. The third brother has taken over the company and can now take charge of his own business. The fourth brother is also more sensible than before, and he even started a company called. It's called Mingfeng Information Consulting Co., Limited. Murong Chen answered. He has already given this company to Mu Zi, and he has a spare time as a vice president. Mu Rongxian nodded. "Dad, you used to love the fourth brother the most. Now that the fourth brother is promising, you should feel relieved." Mu Rongxian babbled on, and then told the rest of the family. It was just a matter of occasion, and naturally he reported good news but not bad news. For example, he never mentioned the matter of Mu Ling's madness. Afterwards, everyone bowed to Mrs. Mu's tombstone one by one, burned incense and paper, and when they were about to leave, Bai Wei said that she wanted to stay a little longer and let them go back first. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 326. I realized that Bai Wei really had deep feelings for the dead old Mrs. Mu. When the paper was burned just now, everyone looked dull, only Bai Wei's eyes were red. The pain caused by death will often fade with the passage of time. It has been more than 10 years since Mrs. Mu passed away, and Bai Wei is still crying in front of the tombstone. One can imagine how deep the relationship was at the beginning. But, in this case, I was even more puzzled. Bai Wei was only in her early 20s back then. How could she fall in love with an old man over half a century old? Moreover, with Bai Wei's cowardly personality, she would break up with her family in order to be with Mrs. Mu. I couldn't imagine. After leaving the cemetery, the family's harmonious appearance was broken, showing a clear-cut posture. Rongcheng and I are in the same car, while Rongxian, Zening, and Yun are in the other car. Sitting in the car, I couldn't help thinking, in the past years, there were Mrs. Mu and Shao who were very lively at the tomb sweeping, but now the tomb sweeping is getting quieter every year. If the ghost of the old lady Mu is nearby, who knows? How would you feel? There must be ghosts in this world. She has experienced it herself, so she has to believe it, but she doesn't know how long this ghost can exist in the world. Will it be wiped out? If she can exist for a long time, she would like to visit her grandmother who died of illness. I's thoughts turned, and she thought to herself, in 2 months, it will be the anniversary of my grandmother's death, and I should go visit her grave. I don't know if my current appearance will be recognized by my grandmother. Muse's grandmother was buried in Xiashui, her hometown. It is a beautiful town, very far away from Qingjiang City. There is no airport nearby, and it can only be reached by train. Once this idea sprouted in my heart, it immediately took root and sprouted, becoming more and more concrete. I decided to go back to her hometown after the final exam. It happened to be the winter vacation at that time. She could not only visit the grave, but also stay longer. After returning to Mu's house, the family members were busy for a while, and it was lunchtime. Lunch on the death day must be eaten together. No matter how busy they are, no matter what grievances or festivities there are, the whole family must sit at the same table and eat in peace. So I came to eat in the gorgeous dining room of the front villa. Bai Wei came back before lunch. Everyone sits around the table together, raises wine glasses together, and touches lightly, creating a somewhat harmonious atmosphere. I was absent-mindedly eating. She was thinking about what preparations she would need to make to visit her grandma's grave during the winter vacation, how many days she would go there, and how to hide it from Bai Wei. Zening poured wine for Yun, and saw that I was holding a glass full of coconut milk, thinking that it was not good for her to drink at a young age, so he picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs for her. I was thinking about something, and didn't pay attention to these trivial matters, and picked up the sweet and sour pork ribs in the bowl and ate them. Rongcheng, who was at the side, saw it. His dark eyes were immediately stained with haze, as dark as layers of dark clouds about to storm. The spare rib touched his chopsticks, but ate it into I's mouth. Too much eyesore. Rongcheng raised his wine glass and poured down the remaining brandy in the glass. His heart was on fire, and he was burned by the flame of jealousy. Even if he knew that I might not have noticed who held that rib, he still hated it. He loathes any contact between these two. Rongcheng suddenly grabbed I's left hand under the table and clenched it tightly, as if silently declaring his sovereignty. Muzi glanced at him inexplicably, thinking, "Are you sick again?" At this time, Muzening's spoon fell. He bent down to pick it up, and saw the entangled and clasped hands of the brother and sister under the table. Muzening's breathing stagnated. Reminiscent of the ambiguity between the two last time, Muzening was instantly furious. It's okay for Murongcheng to play with things and lose his ambition and not do business all these years, but he actually provoked his own sister. That's his sister. If it spreads out, what will outsiders think of the Mu family? What do you think of Muzi? Does he want to harm Muzi forever? Muzening stood up abruptly. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 327. Muzening got up so fast and violently that the chair behind him almost fell to the ground. Everyone at the table looked at him. Muzi also looked at Muzening, puzzled and confused. She was eating sullenly just now, and didn't notice that Muzening was bending over to pick up something, so she didn't know that Muzening saw her and Murongcheng's clasped hands. Seeing Muzening angrily looking directly at Murongcheng at this moment, she still felt strange. What did Murongcheng do to anger people? Murongcheng looked back indifferently, without even moving his eyebrows. When Muzening saw Muzi beside Murongcheng, her tender white and ruddy face was filled with confusion, and in those clear and bright black eyes was the innocence and ignorance of a young girl. She was so young, but she was tempted by her brother and fell into such an embarrassing situation. How pitiful she was. This world is harsh on women. If people know about it, when people talk about Murongcheng, they will only say that he is coquettish, but when they talk about Muzi, they will think that she is not good at learning at a young age, dirty and obscene. After dropping out of school, Xiaoling got madness, and outsiders have already been talking about it. If something happens to Muzi again. Muzening exhaled deeply. Muzening is not like Murongcheng. He grew up under the care of his family and has never been treated harshly by his stepmother, so he has affection for the Mu family. For the sake of family harmony, he will be tolerant. Muzening decided to find Murongcheng to resolve the matter in private, trying to be as silent as possible, so as not to hurt Muzi. After his emotions calmed down, the anger on his face subsided, he tried his best to pretend nothing had happened and sat down again, and said, suddenly remembered that Xiaoling is still in the room, and have you delivered the meal yet? He turned to ask the servant. And he said she had sent it over. Muzening stopped asking and continued to eat. Muzi's eyes were suspicious. She felt that what Muzening was going to say just now should not be the sentence, but why did he change his mind after what he was going to say? Why Muzening was angry, Muzi didn't know, but Murongcheng knew it all. For some reason, he was a little happy. It felt like Feng Shui was turning. When Muzening was in front of him, he held Suzi's 10 fingers countless times, lovingly and intimately. Now, he can finally feel proud. It's just that this level of elation is somewhat dispirited. How much he wants to hold Muzi's hand in a dignified way, and let everyone know that this is his woman. But it's not enough. Muzi is only 17 after the new year, she still has to go to school, and she has to take care of her siblings. Murongcheng thought to himself, if he could find Muzi's biological parents, these problems would naturally be solved. After dinner, Murongcheng and Muzi went back to the small mansion. Muzi received a call from Zhang Xinyuan. Zhang Xinyuan was attending a Christmas banquet at Zhuangjia's house, and the phone was noisy and lively, filled with cheerful Christmas music and people's shouts and laughter. Zhuangjia's mother ordered an extra-large Christmas cake. It's a pity that you didn't come. Zhang Xinyuan knew that Muse's family had something to do, but the atmosphere of the banquet was so good that she couldn't help calling again to ask, really, can't you come? The banquet lasts until 12 o'clock in the evening, you can come later. Muzi looked yearning, but she still refused with a smile. I really can't go, you can take more photos and show them to me when you go to school. There should be no entertainment of any kind on the day of death, which is a respect for the deceased. Although she has no blood relationship with the Mu family, but Bai Wei is so sad, as a child, going out to a banquet and carnival at this moment seems a bit outrageous. Murong Cheng, who was at the side, was thinking that all girls love Christmas, and when she goes to school, her classmates will definitely share with each other what they saw and heard about Christmas, the delicacies and jokes at the banquet, but Muzi has nothing to talk about. What a poor little girl. He immediately had an idea in his mind. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 328. Bai Wei was shrouded in sadness all day long. After lunch, she kept stacking gold ingots in the living room downstairs. She also cut a lot of clothes out of paper. She cut them very carefully and carefully matched them with suit vests. Even small paper buttons were pasted one by one instead of randomly drawing circles with a pen. Murong Cheng said to her, so much paper money has been burned, enough for him to spend, why bother to get these? Bai Wei whispered with red eyes, when he was alive, how did he worry about his basic necessities? The servants prepared to serve him properly. No matter how much money he burns, I don't know if he will spend it. Murong Cheng was ruthless outside, but he had nothing to do with his own mother, so he said helplessly, then you might as well burn a few servants for him to use. In fact, what he said was a bit of a joke, but Bai Wei took it seriously, and really started cutting villains out of pieces of paper. Murong Cheng. Muzi pulled him away, lest he say some bad words and hurt Bai Wei's heart. Don't worry about Mom, if you don't let her do anything, she will think wildly instead. Why don't you burn something, it's a comfort, Muzi said. Murong Cheng rubbed her head, said with a smile, not bad, I will feel sorry for my mother-in-law. Muzi rolled her eyes, she knew that Murong Cheng couldn't spit out ivory, so she shouldn't have any expectations. She didn't want to talk to him, and turned back to the room, but was grabbed by Murong Cheng. Take you out to play at night, Murong Cheng said. Like a frightened hedgehog, Muzi quickly withdrew her hand, no. Don't you dare to go, Murong Cheng still smiled, making people's hair stand on end. Muzi had no choice but to agree, but in order to prevent Murong Cheng from messing around, she said threateningly, today is the anniversary of the old man's death, don't go too far and defile the lintel, be careful that the old man will never let you go. Thinking again? You're still dirtying the lintel, where did you learn the old words? Murong Cheng pinched her face with a smile, I said, I won't touch you until you're 18. Muzi patted his hand away, turned around and entered the room. She is very worried. In the past, I hoped to turn 18 soon every day, so that I could pass the judicial examination as soon as possible and return to my original position. But now, after the new year, she will be 17 years old. Thinking about it this way, 18 years old doesn't seem to be far away, it's a nightmare. Muzi sighed, feeling that her life was bad. Now she couldn't get rid of Murong Cheng, and she didn't have the strength to resist, so she died down, feeling a bit broken, and simply didn't think about it anymore. It's useless to think about it anyway. In the afternoon, Musa washed Xiao's sycamore branches, and then poured water for Sisi to take a bath. After taking care of the two pets, she was also sweating, so she went to take a bath, then lay on the bed and read a book, and fell asleep after reading. When she opened her eyes again, it was already pitch black, and Murong Cheng was sitting beside her bed. In the darkness, Muzi stared at the figure beside the bed in a daze, without a single ripple in her heart. It's really because I'm used to it. She was used to his sudden appearance, and also used to his intrusion into her private space, so used to, she almost didn't know what shame was. Where are you taking me, Muzi lazily got up, opened the closet door to change clothes. There will be no surprises after I've said it. Murong Cheng came over, wrapped her waist around her from behind, and rested his chin in the hollow of her shoulder. Put on the coat you went out in the morning. Muzi glanced at him weakly. Why do you wear all black when you go out for the holidays? Is this guy stuck in a couple costume and can't get out? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life. Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 329. Murong Cheng drove her out. Muzi didn't bother to ask where the destination was, and began to doze off after getting in the car. After the car drove onto the main road, the trees in the green belts on both sides were covered with bright and colorful lights, and Christmas music was faintly playing in the streets and alleys. Occasionally, when encountering a red light, couples passed by the zebra crossing in front of them. Murong Cheng suddenly felt relieved. In such a festival, driving on the road with brightly colored lights, and carrying one's beloved woman in the car, everything is so appropriate and beneficial. Murong Cheng's heart seemed to be touched. He subconsciously took Muzi's hand, put it on his lips and kissed it lightly. Muzi's hand was very soft, frail and boneless, delicate and tender like a piece of soft tofu. Murong Cheng only kissed it once, and he felt the urge to eat her whole along with this hand. He kissed and kissed again and again, making Muzi unbearably disturbed in her sleep. She muttered something and pulled her hand back. Looking at her childish sleeping face, Murong Cheng couldn't help laughing. The car passes through the busy city, enters the airport expressway, and finally arrives at the airport. Muzi followed Murong Cheng to board his private jet, and after a 2.5-hour flight, he arrived at Biban City thousands of miles away. Biban City has the reputation of the capital of ice and snow. Compared with the shadowy and fine snowflakes in Xinjiang City, it is like drizzle, which is not worth mentioning. Muzi looked at the silver-covered metropolis in front of him, and couldn't help but be dumbfounded, thinking, Murong Cheng is really getting more and more crazy. Murong Cheng took her to the big square in the center of Biban City. There is a lot of noise here, and the bright street lights shine on the thick snow, which is white and crystal clear, extremely dazzling. A maze is built with ice bricks, and the center of the square is turned into an ice skating rink. Snowman ice sculptures of various shapes stand around, with colored lights and decorative balls hanging. Countless young men and women gathered here. They reveled wantonly and laughed loudly. Murong Cheng. Muzi didn't know how to comment. Today is the death day, are you sure you want to do this? In her tone, there was little blame, but full surprise. After 0 o'clock, it's not the death day anymore. Murong Cheng took her hand, his voice full of tenderness. Zizi, no one here knows me, and no one knows you, so you don't have to be afraid. They don't have to worry about assassination, and they don't have to worry about the status of siblings. They can let go of their hands and feet and have fun. Murong Cheng even prepared her outfits for playing in the snow, an extra long down coat that can cover from head to toe, plus a hat, gloves, and scarf. After Muzi put it on, she felt like a big soft and fat bun. She wanted to say that it doesn't matter if there are people here who know them, if they are dressed like this, if anyone can recognize her face, it's considered a skill. Murong Cheng dragged her to the maze, but Muzi refused, fearing that she would be trapped inside and would not be able to get out, and would suffer the cold in vain. Murong Cheng dragged her to ice skating again, but Muzi still refused. It was difficult for her to walk even dressed like this. She pushed him in disgust. Go skate by yourself, don't make trouble with me. Then she found a stone pier outside the skating area and sat down. Half of her face was hidden behind the scarf, and her hands were in the sleeves. She was warm and watched the people laughing or falling down in the skating rink. There was laughter all around her, which infected her emotions, and Muzi was in a good mood. After watching for a while, she unconsciously frowned. Not far away, a girl accidentally fell while skating, and her boyfriend reached out to help her, and they both fell to the snow-covered ground. Muzi thought, it must be very painful, right? Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, a little happy. It's just, where did Shao go? Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 330. Muzi squinted her eyes, subconsciously looking for Shao in the crowd. The area illuminated by the street lights is limited, and there are many people skating, with overlapping figures, making it difficult to distinguish who is who. Muzi looked carefully for a while, but did not find Shao's figure. That's strange, did he have too much fun and forgot about her? Muzi felt strange in her heart, she couldn't tell if she was more disappointed or more fortunate. She was bored, when suddenly a ball of snow flew over. It hit her arm, shattered, and splashed a layer of snow foam at the same time. Muzi turned her head to look in that direction, but she didn't see anyone. Maybe the snowball fighters accidentally threw it on her? Muzi was suspicious, turned around and ignored it. But after a while, another little snowball flew over. This time it hit her in the back. Muzi was dressed thickly, and she didn't feel pain or cold after being hit several times, but she was very angry. Shao must be playing tricks. People in their 20s, do you want to be so childish? She simply stood up, took a few steps towards the direction where snowball flew, and shouted towards the empty snowfield, I know it's you, stop messing around. You are so childish. Nothing happened. There are only black tree shadows and a few ridiculous snowmen in front of my eyes. But she was sure that Shao must be hiding somewhere here. Muzi thought for a while, then got a bad idea, squatted down silently, grabbed a handful of snow, and kneaded it into a firm ball in her hands. Come out, it's too cold here, I want to go back. She walked slowly while speaking into the air. Shao really showed up, he seemed to be worried that Muzi would be frozen. He opened his mouth to ask Muzi if he wanted to add another dress, but how could Muzi give him a chance to speak? A snowball has been smashed over. Shao's reaction speed was simply inhuman. He was out of the way in a flash, and the snowball smashed into dust on the tree trunk behind him. Muzi was dumbfounded, and only recovered after Shao ran away, stomping his feet angrily, you are not allowed to run. Why is she the only one who gets smashed? Muzi squatted down, picked up some snow from the ground quickly, and chased after it while pinching. Although her coat was warm, it was also cumbersome, and she was out of breath after running a few steps. The clothes were prepared by Shao, and Muzi suspected that he had sinister intentions and deliberately wanted to tease her. Thinking of Shao's skills, Muzi became a little discouraged, feeling that there was no hope of revenge, but not long after he stopped, Shao would throw her a snowball like a provocation. Little lazy pig, I slept all night, it's time to move around. He stood not far away and smiled. Muzi was very angry. Too arrogant. Unacceptable. She chased after him again. The two were chasing each other in the snow. Muzi was hit several times, but Shao was also thrown many times. Later, she learned to be smart and threw snowballs at Shao's neckline. Shao didn't wear a scarf, thinking about the fine snow foam getting into his neck, the coolness must be very enjoyable. Muzi was secretly happy, feeling that she had taken revenge. Just when he was proud, Shao turned around suddenly. He didn't run away, but counterattacked towards Muzi's direction. Muzi was startled, she groaned inwardly, turned around and wanted to run. But how could she outrun Shao? Before they had time to struggle twice, they were thrown down by Murong Cheng, and both of them fell into the thick and soft snow, their bodies sunk deeply, as if they were trapped in a thick pile of cotton. The broken snow from Murong Cheng's neckline fell all at once, and landed on Mu Zi's face, hair, and scarf. Mu Zi wanted to exclaim, but her voice was silenced. Apart from the icy snowflakes, there was Murong Cheng's kiss that fell.